Good morning, everybody, and this is your Forex Day trade setups for today. So starting off with Euro USD on the weekly, and this is a pretty bearish chart that we're looking at on the weekly at the moment. So a couple of things, we have broken the moving averages to the upside. Moving averages were pointing up, and they're now starting to sort of level off. We've got oscillators grouping to the downside, so now that's all indicating that we need to be looking for opportunities to buy. But fact of the matter here on the weekly is as follows. We have a lower high, okay, and then what we have, is we've got a bit of structure here, kind of in the area that we're in. I'm just going to put both levels in. There they are. So you can see we've got a little bit of zone of support here, which we need to pay attention to. But lower high, we're looking for a lower low. You get a lower low, we're looking for a bigger move to the downside. There are some weekly gaps to the downside as well, and that is just indicating strong dollar. So from a macro perspective, that is what's looking like is going to start happening, is we're going to get the dollar strengthening. So looking at the 8 hour, you can see we kind of rejected the 155 EMA and then got right back below the moving averages again. Oscillators are kind of in no man's land at the moment, so obviously they need to group right at the downside. And the other thing you need to pay attention to is we've got this big zone of support here. I'll give those to you now on the hour. So ideally I'm looking to sell. At the moment, I think we're more than likely going to get a stronger dollar over the coming months. So we're looking to sell into this. But obviously we don't want to sell down here. We want to find some area of, resistance. So we need some area that is going to give us resistance. And unfortunately, we've got to go quite far back, and you can see what I'm doing. There's an area, you can see the tail on there, that tail try to get there. There's another area here. There's a tail, there's some structure, here's some more structure here. So ideally what I'm looking for, first level, is 117.710. If we can reject that level, definitely would be an opportunity to get in short again. And we're targeting 117, 121. If we come back up here, 117.878 is another area. And then up here at 118, 124, but there's also a 1 hour level, which would be this tail here. And that is 118.013. So 118 is obviously a fairly decent area. Ultimately, I think we're going to be chasing 116 at the moment. You can see on the monthly, big zone with all my levels that I've drawn in there, big area of support. You can see there is additional support a little bit lower down, so there's a massive area. But looking at that, I would expect this to play out down, possibly to the 110 area, to be honest, because it does look like a bit of a double top forming. But anyway, that's kind of my view on Euro USD, is looking for a pullback and then looking to sell into that. US dollar, Japanese yen, similar scenario. So if we just look at the weekly, you can see pretty much a break of the moving averages, come and test the 155, a second test the moving averages, 2 pin bars here. This is looking to me like a bit of a flag. There's our weekly flag there. Okay, so move up, pull back, move up, pull back, move up. Oscillators are in kind of no man's land at the moment, so very, very strong possibility. Look to the left, there's quite a bit of resistance that we have here, and that there is the area we need to pay attention to right now. And then I'm just putting another weekly level here. And if we look at that on the 8 hour, you'll see the structure that's between those levels. This here, fine tune that a little bit. Kind of a messy channel flag, etc. But if you look at the oscillators here, grouping the upside, looking for a pullback onto structure, and that's closest structure as far as I'm concerned, just going to fine tune this, is all the way back down here at 109.854. So we look at the hour, you can see pretty much nothing, and then non-farm payrolls comes out, and dollar gets really strong based on that information, and now we're flagging at the moment. So yeah, we're looking to buy, and looking to buy for the long term at the moment, and that's kind of the macro view that we've got. So pullbacks onto structure are to be bought, and 109,942 is the first area. The second area is obviously going to be a break above this 110,428 area, break and retest that area, then we're looking for an opportunity. So on this pair, 15-minute would be a fairly decent opportunity. Bear in mind there are gaps here. So there's a gap there, and there are gaps further down, but you can see there's gaps here. So that would be a fairly decent area to pay attention to as well. That's 110, 110. So yeah, that's kind of my view here. Looking for a pullback and then looking for an opportunity to buy into this, ultimately to clear 110,428. Moving across to British pound, Japanese yen. And this inverted head and shoulders is still very much in play. So shoulder, if we do that, there's your shoulder, here's your head, and here's your other shoulder. So put your neckline in. There's my neckline. Neckline hasn't closed just yet, but it is pretty close. So as far as I'm concerned, looking at the 8 hour, look at how we are starting to cross over in the moving averages. If I come to the weekly, you look at that, that is a very bullish setup, that. And here is your structure on the weekly. So that's a structure that we've kind of closed above. So ultimately, the sell level here at 153,437 is the one we need to pay attention to. Oscillators crossed over on the faster moving one, slower one is still coming. As far as I'm concerned, this is had a strong move up. This is a deep consolidation, and we are looking to move to the upside again. So yeah, this inverse head and shoulders is more than likely going to play out. So the question is, at when do we get in? Okay, so on the hour, there is a bit of chaos to the downside. There are gaps all the way down. Oscillators are grouping to the downside at the moment. So we're looking for structure. At the moment, that structure is off this area here. That is 152,658. So if we can get sort of price to come back onto this area and at the same time sort of test it on the 15-minute chart, probably the one to be watching. See what happens there, and you should get a move to the upside. Be wary of a London breakout strategy that breaks the downside. I think you probably get first target, or so the 161 extension or the range, but I suspect then you would find support for another move to the upside and sort of break above the range. So that's kind of my view at the moment. Looking to buy into this, definitely anticipating a fairly decent head and shoulders break here for a nice juicy target to the upside. So that's kind of my view there. Lastly, Euro British pound. So obviously this is going to be the converse. So if we just look at the weekly charts here, we've been talking about this downward move for quite some time, and you can see even we tried to get going here and ended up in a weekly pin bar. So, and we've got a bit of a confirmation bar down at the bottom. So this one at the moment, that's the structure. That's the weekly structure at the moment. If I come across to the 8 hour, I can adjust that to there. That's my structure, which is 0.85. Dead. Look at my oscillators, group to downside. Don't want to be selling with this kind of structure that you're seeing now. So looking for a pullback first before we even start looking at that. Just bear in mind that you've got this weekly, which was support for quite some time. So I would expect us to sort of try and test something higher up, and that is the zone that I have. So 0.84900 and 0.85. So that's the zone that we have at the moment. So price getting back into there and rejecting that area, then you're definitely looking to get in on this to the downside. Lastly, have a look at the diagonal trend line here. So any pullback up to 85 is definitely something that you want to be selling into. Smallish position with a high stop loss because your next stop is quite here. But nevertheless, the structure that we're seeing on the dollar and the pound at the moment is looking very interesting. So strong dollar, strong pound, and that is what I'll be looking at in Forex over the coming weeks. Anyway, hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.